So I was at the Republican state convention that voted on the state platform for the Republican Party over the weekend.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, it was fine. So
I heard it was pretty gross at some points.
Yeah, there wasn't. I didn't think it went particularly well, other than we got to hear some numbers about who's where and that kind of thing as far as their position on issues.
Mm-hmm.
But I felt like on a couple of issues, one, removing marriages between one man and one woman from the state platform, and consider that in New Hampshire, the status quo is currently that gays can marry if they want. So if your argument is that the gay marriage grows the government, not in New Hampshire it doesn't. Because the government has already grown to that size. So your suggestion that we disallow gays from marrying into the future might be an argument to shrink the government because fewer people would get the license, but it would also be the argument that we don't let black people make the decision to marry
that wouldn't shrink the government. They're not going to fire employees at the Department of Marriage Licenses.
That's the only argument I've ever heard that anyone's made that's of any validity at all.
It's ridiculous. I mean, anybody that knows anything about bureaucrats and how entrenched they are in their jobs, if all of a sudden the amount of, I don't know what the percentage is as far as marriage licenses coming into the bureaucrats, as far as how many of them are gay licenses versus straight licenses, but I don't imagine it's more than 50%, if not 30% or 20%.
Lower.
But it's not going to be a huge burden, so it's not like they're going to have to lay people off if they all of a sudden get rid of gay marriage. But you were saying that the proposal was to what?
To remove marriages between one man and one woman from the platform. And then something that they also said about Sharia law.
So the proposal was to remove the statement about what marriage is from the Republican platform?
No, it was not. It was to change it to something that did not include marriages between one man and one woman. Like we cherish marriage and that kind of thing. Language that would make a Republican that loves families feel a little bit better.
But take out the language about the one man, one woman thing.
Right.
And that did not pass.
It did not pass by like a 33 to 66 margin.
Wow.
And another bill
that was over 100 votes. I think this is worth correcting here because for a while on Free Talk Live...
I actually corrected it last night, but if you'd like to go over it again, that's fine.
Oh, okay. Well, I wasn't here for that. But but Mark had been saying that it was only like a 20-something vote margin
27
last
votes.
time. You were saying it was like 20-something votes last time at this Republican convention thing here in New Hampshire, and it made it sound like the Free Staters and the Liberty people were like within 20-something votes of taking over the Republican Party, because who the hell would think the Republicans are going to remove, this statement from their platform anywhere? And so it made me think, wow, we're almost on this. Turns out the vote was actually the 27 votes that you were talking about was actually the vote to vote on the issue last time.
To not table the issue. So it was tabled, so it was a vote to vote, not a vote.
So I guess there was some progress in that this time the vote was actually taken rather than tabled?
That's correct. However, I would like to point out that I saw Free Staters vote opposite of the way I voted on this one.
What?
So,
what?
Well, let's point out that different people have different views on this. So,
but I don't understand.
Okay,
shouldn't they be freedom views?
Well, they might be. Their statement might be that they don't cherish marriage.
Okay,
I guess I get what you're saying.
Like, it's none of my business whether people want to be in a relationship or not.
Yeah, I get it.
The point that needs to be made here is that you weren't as close to taking over the Republican Party as
I don't know that that's necessarily true. You want to make this point as like you're itching to make this point so badly, but I would like to point out, Mr. I ran as a Democrat the last time.
That's right, and got 4%.
Congratulations. The bill...
That's better than the Libertarian got in the general election for governor.
A president... this is a primary, and you ran as a Democrat.
That's right.
The... keep on just getting in the way, and I can't even make my point. Okay, so there was a bill up to demilitarize the police, to take away these mine-resistant vehicles, these Bearcats, and these kind of things. The Republicans voted for that bill 75% to 25%.
Whoa.
The Democrats voted against it 75% to 25% because we got police unions to protect.
Whoa.
So now please go ahead and tell me how the Republican Party is anti-freedom
I
in New
didn't say
Hampshire.
that. I said that the way you'd been making it sound on this show was that the Libertarians were within 20-something votes of taking over the Republican Party. You're more like within about 100-some votes, because that was the difference on that
I don't know.
gay marriage vote.
I don't know that
My
that's the
point
answer,
is
because
there
I
was
think
more
that this
growth
issue might be different than I view it.
Maybe.
When I
but
viewed
my
it
point is
previously,
you need more people. You need more activists.
Always.
We need more people here in New Hampshire. It's not as close as you had made it sound. It's a little bit wider, but that gap can close because, again, the Free State Project hasn't actually begun the official move yet. So already, I mean, what would be your estimate, Mark? Just considering that you know Free Staters sort of by sight in some cases, but not all. I mean, we don't know all the 1,600 people that are here. What's your guess, your ballpark at how many of the 400 some people at this
412
meeting? How many of the 400 would you say are known Liberty people?
50.
Okay. So there's some growth that can definitely occur here. But it's not hard to get into these seats, right? Like, all you have to do is basically throw your hat into an election or something.
I've got to be
right?
the most hated person in my town. I still win every time. I'm
that
suing the town, and I'm winning, and I won.
Yeah, 50 sounds like a lot to me out of 412 seats out of the whole state for the Republicans. Yeah, that is a decent percentage.
So it's doable. It's definitely doable. And a lot of the folks, from what I understand, I was not there. I couldn't be. But from what I heard from people who were there, there was a bunch of bigoted old jerks who were attending this convention.
And that's really the point I wanted to make on that is that consider that, you know, the majority of people that voted against this particular issue were over the age of 75. And they will likely be dead inside of a decade or two.
Mm-hmm.
Do you, like, are they paving the way for the better world that people might have? I mean, what are they thinking here? Are they, what, I mean, because
They're
I
being
don't
conservative. They're conserving.
Right.
Yep.
I feel like you are holding the party back. Hey, here's a little surprise for every Republican that's listening, like Republicans like me that's listening. Gay marriage is going to be the reality in your state in a short period of time. If you stand against it and you try hard to prevent it, all you're doing is keeping young people who believe that this is a right out of your party. You and I can debate on rights all you want, but if you want the Republican Party to be relevant to young people, I'm not talking about gay people, you're throwing away a whole generation of voters, and you can't afford it because you're 90.
Yeah, I mean, this is a reality. In fact, Conan, we've had Conan on the show as a guest host occasionally. He's the host of Black Sheep Rising here in Keene. He's an activist. He's a Free State Project early mover. He ran as a state rep candidate, I believe as a Democrat here in Keene, because you have to run as a Democrat if you want to run in Keene, New Hampshire. But he was running as a Democrat. He got third place in a vote in the primary, so he got knocked out in the primary. But he was against a couple of older guys, one of them in his 80s. And this guy in his 80s, to his credit, is actually still going door to door. He showed up at Conan's door.
Wow.
And was not...
Yeah.
Okay. He's this old guy who's been doing politics in this area forever, and he's got great name recognition.
He says he didn't leave the Republican Party. The Republican Party left him.
He's a total lefty.
He wants a 90% income tax bracket.
Anyway, my point being, the guy deserves a lot of credit for being 80 years old and going door to door. It's incredible. And he doesn't need to.
Make sense.
He doesn't need to at all. He's got all kinds of name recognition. All he has to do is put his name on the ballot. He'll win. But what I was talking with Conan about is, look, the fact is, we're going to be here longer than these guys. I mean, these older guys are going to pass away at some point, and if Conan keeps running every 2 years, he's going to be building name recognition every 2 years here in New Hampshire, and then eventually this older guy is going to go away.
I'd say God bless him, but he's an atheist.
Conan?
Tim Roberts.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Conan might be too. I don't know.
I don't know. It doesn't really matter to me. I'm just saying I don't know how to address that.
Toll-free number 855-450-FREE. So this is a long game. This is a long road that we're on here, and you should join us. Go to freestateproject.org. Check that out.
Free Talk Live, 7 nights a week from 7 to 10 Eastern, live on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.